All right, so let's talk. Welcome back. Hey. The Holy Roman Empire is this like empire, and you would say like, oh, are they from Rome? Are they Italian? No, it's a German empire. It's Austrian. Are they super religious? Yeah, they're hecka Catholic, but they're not a Roman empire per se. And by the end, if you're looking at this, like, yeah, okay, it's an empire. They got this stuff here in yellow. Don't get confused because my background slide is yellow. So don't be like, oh, hey, did I control the whole slide? That doesn't make any sense. Okay, just think. Okay, there's a border there. There's a border. So anyway, we're gonna explain how Charles V went from controlling like, whoa, all this stuff, to controlling less stuff, and then when he retires and all that, but more on that in a second. First things first, I'm the realist. This is the future Germany here. And you might remember when we started talking about Luther, we started talking about the Germanic states and how they started picking sides. Well, Charles V was the Holy Roman Emperor at the time. You might recall him from such great works as the time he summoned Luther before the Diet of Worms. It was like, you need to recant. And he was like, nah. And Charles was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? We're going to excommunicate you. And Luther's like, problem is, I think the Pope has contradicted himself, and I cannot and will not contradict Scripture, because to do so would be against conscience and plain reason. So help me God. Amen. Mic drop. Out! So Charles V kind of was like, oh man, I messed up with Luther. You know, Protestantism is a thing now. So he gets involved with France over Italy and the German states. And this is a struggle we call the Habsburg-Valois Wars. And the Habsburg-Valois Wars pits the Holy Roman Empire, H-R-E, ride or die, versus the French. I abbreviate HRE for Holy Roman Empire. That makes sense. I abbreviate France because those extra 3 letters are just too much for me to write. Anyway, it's over land. Now you say, wait a second. I thought that some of those Germanic states were becoming Protestant. It makes sense to me that the Holy Roman Empire, a Catholic empire, would be at war with these Germanic states. So why is France involved in this? Okay, it's like this. France sees an opportunity to take their frenemy out. And I said frenemy, that's right. The Holy Roman Empire is this popular Catholic girl. And France is like the other, perhaps less popular Catholic girl. And all of a sudden, Holy Roman Empire, she's starting to have trouble with some of the people in her friend group. Okay? Starting to. Like some girls are starting to talk behind her back. So what happens over here? It's like, wait a second. I'm going to use this against her. I'm going to send weapons and arms. You really shouldn't do this. And don't do that. But the analogy is falling apart. But you understand what I'm saying, is that France is trying to help these enemies of the Holy Roman Empire, in this case the Protestants, in this situation, and they do so by fighting against the Holy Roman Empire. So indirectly, France is helping the Protestants because they hate the Holy Roman Empire and they see a chance to bring her down a notch. It's like Gossip Girl, where you have the blonde girl was in Green Lantern, Serena, I think her name was, and her and Blair are like friends. But at the same time, they're always maneuvering, and there might be a situation where it's like, oh, look, I have the opportunity. Blair finds out that Serena is going to be in her mom's fashion show. And so Blair's like, oh, I got to sabotage this fashion show. But Blair, it's your mom. You're making money off of this thing. But Blair's like, nah, I'm taking you down. It's the same thing. France is willing to hurt the Catholic cause in general by supporting the Protestants as long as it hurts their mutual enemy. This comes to a temporary solution in 1555 with the Peace of Augsburg. And I've got there, Mr. Oliver, you misspelled it. No, I didn't misspell it because it is Latin. In Latin, this says, he who rules his religion. So basically, we're just going to accept that these Germanic princes, whatever that religion they are, is what their subjects will be. So say you got Saxony and you got Frederick, the dude that was helping out Luther. He's gone Lutheran. So he who rules, Frederick in that case, his religion, Lutheranism. So everybody in Saxony gonna be Lutheran. What about other religions, such as the Mennonites and the Calvin? No, this only is for Lutherans or Catholics. Those are your choices. Okay, this is not an era of religious freedom. This is simply a like, all right, look, okay, we'll compromise. And the other religions are like, what about us? It's like, no. Okay, look, it's hard enough for us to compromise and not kill each other over this. Don't get more things involved. The official end of the war is, I'm going to slaughter this, Peace of the Cateau-Cambrai in 1559. But most people just remember the Peace of Augsburg because that's where you get the whole he who rules his religion thing. And that's a compromise that kind of goes forward. Cateau-Cambrai is the thing that actually ends the fighting. But France and the Holy Roman Empire still don't like each other. All right. So Charles V, that was a huge failure, really, the Habsburg-Valois Wars, because part of his former empire, the German states, now have a bit of independence in that they can choose their own religion. What about the Dutch people? What about the Netherlands? Well, Charles V was pretty well liked by him. He spoke Dutch. He was kind of mellow with them. When the Dutch start moving towards Calvinism, the Holy Roman Empire, led by Charles, is all like, oh, man, you really ought to not do that. I do not approve, bros. But he kind of is like, I don't want to, it's the Dutch bros, and, here in Fresno, Dutch bros is really big, so, we don't want to mess with them. Meanwhile, Charles divides up his lands. What? Where did that come from? This is later. He's old. He says, look, I don't want to do this no more. My life has been nothing but conflict. First I had Luther, then I had these Habsburg-Valois wars. How stressful. He retires. He doesn't die. Well, eventually he does. But he retires. And so he says, look, son, you are going to get Spain and the Netherlands. Oh. What's his son's name? Okay, it's right there, really. This is not a very hard question. Philip II. Mr. Oliver, wasn't Philip II the name of Mary I, Queen of England, the Catholic Queen? Wasn't that her husband's name? Yes, the same dude. And why not? Look at this dude. What a hottie, right? I don't know, I guess. So you're like, oh, well, Mr. Oliver, there's other yellow portions of the map. Who do those go to? Oh. Got to take care of your bro. So the German and Italian territories go to his brother, Ferdinand I. Get used to that name. A lot of Ferdinands over in the Holy Roman Empire. All right. Then Charles V is like, out. And he goes off and does his thing. And so now the Holy Roman Empire, as it was in the early part of the 16th century, is divided up. West side is going to be Philip II. East side is going to be Ferdinand I. Spoilers, we're going to worry a lot more about this guy than this guy. Okay, just totes. Oh, Philip, you just took over. What are you doing? Look at this. Boom. One slide later, Philip II decides, oh, he's got to be a big man. He's in charge of the Dutch now. And he's like, you know what? Dad was a little soft on y'all. I guess I'm going to need to destroy the Calvinist uprising. So he raises the taxes on them, starts sending in people to get all killy on all these Calvinists and force them to convert. And we've seen this one before. Who does Spain send in when they want to religiously oppress people? That's right, the Inquisition. And here's this fella, the Duke of Alba, possibly, but probably not at all, related to Jessica Alba. You could see the resemblance. They're both very, very pretty people. Under orders from Philip, with one L, by the way, Philip II, the Duke of Alba goes over there, and he establishes a harsh justice system. How harsh is it? It's so harsh that the Dutch call it the Council of Blood. Right here, this is like, I guess this is the Duke of Alba. I don't know. He looks like a monster or ghost. And like people are all like, oh, you know, I'm going to line up here. And then these people are like, oh, we'll approach you. And he's like, don't get too close, son. And everybody's like, oh, scary. All right, what's the point of that? I can't read any of this because this is all in French. But the point is, it says duck. I don't think it means duck like a quack quack duck, though. Anyway, so Philip II, basically his government with the Duke of Alba, it's really mean to these Protestants in the Netherlands. They really do not like it. They're not fans of the Council of Blood. I mean, for gosh sakes, they nickname it the Council of Blood. That's not something you say about something you like. You're not like, oh, you know what, that made me bleed. I loved it. Not usually, unless you're kind of creepy and weird. Here's a famous painting. It's called The Slaughter of Innocents. It's by Peter Bruegel. Technically, it's part of the Northern Renaissance, which you might have figured out from Peter Bruegel. And it shows here Spanish troops descending on a Dutch town, slaughtering them. Is very pro-Dutch. Again, you could probably tell that from the fact it says The Slaughter of Innocents, not if it was more Spanish. In the favor of them, it would be like the slaughter of those who deserved it. Here we have like, look at dead people. I'm begging. You die. Dogs, dog. Dogs were very big in the past. Dead baby. Dead kid. All kinds of madness. This really seems like a terrible day. Listen, I'm here all alone, just recording this by myself in my classroom. So I'm trying to be enthusiastic. I'm not trying to make light of my friends who are dead here in 1566. If it's too soon, I apologize. I'm just trying to keep it peppy. So the Dutch are like, hello there. This is good Queen Bess. Queen England, the Virgin... Queen England? That's not my name. Queen Elizabeth, the Virgin Queen. What do you need? And the Dutch are all like, we need help, yo. She's like, what do you need help for? What is that all about, eh? It's like, well, we need, the Spanish are attacking us, as Mr. Oliver's been talking about on these previous slides. So we would like money and or troops. And like, well, I suppose we could help you out there because, we got a situation where if we don't help you, I mean, we're probably next, aren't we? They're going to come for us. And also, the wool trade is suffering as a result of this war on the continent. And we need that wool. You got to share your sheep. So, with English... Bye-bye. So, thanks to English intervention, the Dutch are able to get help and win, kind of. In the northern part of the Netherlands, they get independence. We will call this the Union of Utrecht. The southern provinces remain under Spanish control. Philip is not cool with that. So much so it calls for a change in font. And Philip is all like, I'm not happy about that. So he calls up the Pope. And the Pope is like, hey, if you take control of England and return them to the Catholic faith, I will reward you with much money. And Philip's all like, they both hang up. Bye. And so the Pope's like, yo, you got to get over there and make England Catholic. So Philip's like, oh, It's time to meet the Armada. By the way, Philip II in the Spanish Armada. If your name is Philip and you have a band and you don't call it Philip and the Spanish Armada, you are doing yourself a disservice, my friend. Call your band the Spanish Armada. You're the front man, Philip. That's money. So Philip sends the most blessed fleet, that's the nickname, of this called the Spanish Armada, to go destroy the British Navy so that they can pave the way for a land invasion. Because you can't just march your troops across the sea because they'll drown. So you have to do them by ship, and if you still have a bunch of Navy people like shooting at your ships, you're going to sink, and then again they'll drown. So that would be very negative for those army people. So they got to destroy the British Navy. The Spanish Armada is awesome. Okay, they should win. They have the numbers. You know what the British got? That's right. They got me. She's not even on the phone right now, and she's just yelling that out. Elizabeth I is all like, yo, we got to fight for our survival here, people. So she gets all inspirational. The English ships are more maneuverable, and they're all like, oh, bang, 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 and they win. Okay, good news is this is AP European history, so you don't really need to worry about the battle. But if you just say like, oh, the English ships were more maneuverable and faster, and they managed to defeat the Spanish Armada, it works. Big defeat for the Spanish Navy. Possibly the most famous naval battle of the 16th century. It's probably one of the most famous naval battles, period. Oh my God, am I there? Did I go back in time? No, it's just a picture. It's a painting.